It is time now for Great Day Books, and there's always a big debate about which one is better when it comes to books, and they're on-screen adaptations. Usually people say the book, but...
I typically say the book, too. Lori Fazio from RJ Julia Booksellers is here now with some great summer reads turned into movies and shows, which I just
There really isn't a question.
It's typically the book, right?
But can you read the book after you've seen the show?
Of course. You can definitely do that. I mean, I always advise you read it before, because something that, you know, a book will give you is a lot of, like, inside thoughts, whereas the movie, if they don't say it, you don't generally know what they're thinking.
Right.
Whereas a book will go a little bit deeper, so you can go to the movie.
There's much more detail in a book.
Right, but you could go the opposite way, too. That's fine.
Well, sometimes you get your own visions in the book, and then you go to the movie and you're like, that's not how I pictured.
Right. Well, where the Crawdads Sing, so, yes, this is such a beloved book. I mean, it was on the bestseller list, as you mentioned, for just years. Really, which is, it's the longest book on the bestseller list that
seriously,
broke records.
I'm gonna have to read this.
Yes. So, you know, we're, you know, a bunch of booksellers, we are gonna go see it, but you're right, we have this vision, and sometimes you worry and you get there, and a lot of times it's even better than you think. Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, right? All of these that became movies did very, very well. I think this is going to be done well, I do.
Right.
I really
do. The amount of attention that this is getting.
Exactly.
I mean, especially with a book that's been on the bestseller list that long, they're going to pay even more close attention to it.
They're going to do it right. Yes.
Named Best Book of the Year by the New York Times Book Review, Bloomberg, USA Today, Southern Living, BuzzFeed, Real Simple, The Skim, Bustle, and more.
Right.
And it's something to do with them. I have it on my nightstand. I haven't read it yet. Now I need to do it before I see the movie. But I guess there's a marsh girl, and she gets accused of something.
That's right. So, well, there's a marsh girl. There's a murder, and it's, you know, she's this lovable character. She kind of had to make it on her own, and all these other things happen, and the town people always look at her a little bit differently, and there's a lot of nature in it, and so you get a little bit of everything in this book. You feel the, you know, the heat of North Carolina and the swampy feel, and you know, so the descriptions in it. And Delia Owens, actually, this is her first novel. She wrote nonfiction, you know, and she used to study animals and nature. Wow. But yeah, so she's a really cool author. So I will say that too.
Wow. All right, and what do you want to tell us next?
So let's talk about This Is Going to Hurt. So this is for fans of, you know, ER, Grey's Anatomy, your Chicago, you know, Med, things like that. This is a memoir, and it's about a doctor who's giving, you know, his stories of, you know, what he sees in the hospital, but it's done in a witty, funny way. And so, you know, now that's, you know, on it's made into a series.
It is. I didn't know that.
It is. Yep. So all of these are. So conversations with friends. So Sally Rooney has been an up-and-coming author for, you know, several years now. This is, and it's not really like Friends, but the only way I can describe it is that Conversations with Friends is about these two best friends who are studying in Dublin, and they meet a famous photographer and the spouse, and they think it's all fun until all of a sudden it becomes a little creepy, right? So you get a little bit of drama, but it's, you know, a little bit of like the, you know, the fantastical world, but it's, you know, so it's just interesting, and you get all these different characters kind of coming and going.
Okay.
So that's that. Firestarter by Stephen King.
Oh my God.
Now this was a movie, years ago, and they just redid it. So all of a sudden, boom, it's back up there. With Drew Barrymore was the original.
Drew Barrymore.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is not the one I was thinking, but this is, so this was a book, and then it became a movie, and now they re-released the book.
And they re-released the book. Oh, it probably was always out, but they have a new cover, and you know, movie tie-ins.
Letting people know it was a book,
Yeah.
So Stephen King's obviously scary, right?
Stephen King is scary. So if you want your horror, that's where you go.
Oh, she was a little terror in that movie.
Yes,
she was something else.
After E.T., she went the other direction.
She went the other direction. She went from 180 completely.
And then there's Mr. Malcolm's List. So fans of Bridgerton, you know, if you've read Pride and Prejudice, things like that. This is also a series right now. And then there's, so this summer I turned pretty. So Jenny Han.
I'm watching that. I just finished it.
Jenny Han is a young adult. And I talked about her books a few years ago. It was like To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It's sort of my guilty pleasure because they're young adult books and I love them. So This Summer I Turned Pretty is now her new series. And she writes in threes. She writes trilogies. And so right now you're seeing what's based on the first book. I am sure there's going to be more. Right now that book is really hard to get, so order it. You know, we have them coming in, and they're out of stock everywhere. So order it if you want it. But they're
I'll get it because Helena and
Are you loving it?
I'm loving it. I mean, I like to watch a show with my daughter sometimes in the summer.
Yeah, great.
And I always have to have her pick. So she's like, I want to watch the Summer Night Turn. Everyone's watching it. And she did tell me it was a book. So now I guess we can catch up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
so
coming
fun.
of age.
And there's
people
all kinds
like it
of-
because it takes place in Cousins on the Cape. So
yeah, it's just fun. I mean, it's it's a fun series.
You have Venmo?
Do I have Venmo?
Yeah.
Yes,
All right,
I do.
I'll take this book and Venmo you the
Okay,
money.
we could talk after.
All right, very
you don't
good.
have to Venmo Lori. You have
Right,
to
that's
pay
my
online
personal
for the
Venmo,
store.
Oh, I have to pay.
Venmo would
that's
go to
right.
Lori's bank account.
I'm like, we'll figure it out.
Don't worry, RJ
Thanks,
Julia,
Lori.
you can buy online. I've done it before.
Thanks, Lori.